So Google invented a computer chip that proved parallel realities exist, and we live in a multiverse. Did you hear that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I guess we'll just talk about the AI apocalypse on this one. Google published Meet Willow, our state-of-the-art quantum chip. Our new chip demonstrates error correction and performance that paves the way to a useful large-scale quantum computer. So they said the first, two major achievements. The first is that Willow can reduce errors exponentially as we scale up using more qubits. This cracks a key challenge in quantum error correction that the field has pursued for more than 30 years. Second, Willow performed a standard benchmark computation in under 5 minutes that would take one of today's fastest supercomputers 10 septillion years, a number that vastly exceeds the age of the universe. Okay.
Yeah.
The Willow chip is a major step in a journey that began over 10 years ago when I founded Google Quantum AI in 2012. The vision was to build a useful large-scale quantum computer, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know if they have it in here, but let me... Oh, I can't spell. There we go. Check this out. This is their claim. Willow's performance on this benchmark is astonishing. It performed a computation in under 5 minutes that would take one of today's fastest supercomputers 10 septillion years. If you want to write it out, it's, 10 septillion. This mind-boggling number exceeds known timescales in physics and vastly exceeds the age of the universe. It lends credence to the notion that quantum computation occurs in many parallel universes, in line with the idea that we live in a multiverse. A prediction first made by David Deutsch. These latest results for Willow, as shown in the plot below, are our best so far, but will continue to make progress. So I guess what they're saying is, in order for it to calculate as fast as it did, it had to be calculating simultaneously in shitloads of realities at the same time.
That's wild.
Or it's all bullshit and they're just talking out their asses.
I'm not sure how quantum computing works, other than they essentially, when you ask a question, it's proposing both like yes and no or on and off, essentially, because that's the way that computers work. It's either a 1 or a 0. So it's proposing both at the same time.
It's actually quite simple to visualize. Probably a bit too simplistic, but imagine trying to solve a maze. You have a maze in front of you and you're going around and you hit a wall and you go back and then you're going down, you hit a wall. That's a normal computer solving an equation. Quantum computing would be pour water on one side. The whole thing just fills up and then goes right at the other end. And then you just see what it is. And there you go.
When you pour cement into an anthill.
That's right. And it fills every nook and cranny.
Sure does.
What's a cranny?
It's
I know
like
what a nook is. Like I have a book nook.
They both exist in Thomas's English muffins.
That's true.
So
nooks and crannies and waffles.
Yeah. Yeah. Those just have
Nook is still used.
They don't have crannies in waffles.
Oh, really?
No, it's just nooks.
What?
Yeah.
And what's a cranny?
It's different.
Define it.
I'm literally going to Google. What
Look it up.
is a cranny?
A cranny is a small, narrow space or opening.
Yeah.
What's a nook?
Yeah, a nook is more like what's on a waffle.
A corner or recess, especially one offering seclusion or security.
Right.
That is not in my waffle.
Yeah, that's
Nothing about that waffle is
what?
offering me seclusion.
It's in your bubble waffles. You don't make bubble waffles, do you?
Oh, okay. The one we put the sugar in it.
Yeah, no, not just the sugar, the bubbles. Bubble waffle.
Anyway, this story has sparked a whole bunch of people. Is there a multiverse? I don't know. But one ramification of this is that quantum computing to this degree could basically end Bitcoin as we know it.
Yeah.
Why?
So it would solve all of the encryption instantly and unlock everything.
Instantly, and then just make it all extant.
All your passwords are
There's no keys anymore.
Yeah.
Well, not just for Bitcoin. I'm talking about like any passwords, where anything that's password protected, gone. They'll brute force it instantly or super fast.
Right.
So
indeed.
So put all your money in your bed.
We're all fucked.
I mean,
buy gold.
I don't know if if there's a solution to quantum computing, if there's a way to beat it. I mean, but if you do, if the situation is there is nothing secure on the electronically secure anymore, then it does really come back down to physical things in the real world are the only way to actually be secure. You have to have locked doors and vaults and physical things.
Yeah,
it'll end all electronic currency, and it'll end U.S. backed fiat currency as well.
But I do think it's important to note that English muffins are the superior muffin.
They are the superior muffin of all the muffins. They're
English muffins are the
best ones.
superior bread. In all honesty,
They're really good toasted.
only
with a
toasted.
with a little jam,
but if they're not toasted, they're awful.
a little butter and jam. Yeah, well, you can't eat them untoasted.
It's got to be toasted with butter, and then it's the most delicious thing ever.
And some jam.
Yeah, but I don't eat bread anymore, so I haven't had an English muffin in quite a bit.
you should give yourself a little treat now and then.
No, I'll get sick.
You won't get sick from an English muffin.
Yes, I will.
There's some
I stopped eating bread; it was messing me up.
really.
Yeah,
Like gluten intolerance.
I don't know what it was. All I know is that I started getting joint pain, and I started isolating certain foods, and cut the bread up. So I'd been doing keto for a couple of years, and maybe that was partly it. And then when I got off keto, because I got a personal trainer, and he was like, "Eat more carbs." Allison made delicious French bread and Italian bread with organic flour or whatever, and I ate a shitload of it to get my carbs in. The next day, I was basically paralyzed. Not like I couldn't move, but it was like I just felt totally lethargic,
And creaky.
brain foggy, creaky. My hips hurt, and I was like, I'm gonna start isolating things in my diet, going back to keto, immediately cutting out bread, and I've never felt better. Totally unrelated to multiverse theory, though, but maybe there's a universe where bread doesn't do this.
What do you do with pizza? Just no pizza?
No, I take the cheese off and throw the bread back in the box.
Okay.
Didn't you watch the Yes or No with Michael Knowles that I did?
I did.
You helped them do that.
I was in the room when Allison, threw that one out there.
He asked. It was a question of like yes or no. Tim eats the cheese off of the pizza and then puts the bread back into the box, and then I was like, that was the question. Then Michael put yes, and I was like, well, I'm not going to throw the bread away. Maybe somebody wants to eat it. You know what I mean? It's like I didn't bite it or anything.
You're not doing rice, or is rice?
Oh, that's too carby. Yeah, I do keto. I do no carbs. Only a little bit. Only a little bit of carbs. Not zero. If it's coconut, I'll do coconut water or whatever. Yeah. Well, I guess no one's enthused by the idea of a multiverse. So
There's not much. I don't know anything about multiverse theory or how it would work when it comes to quantum computing. That's a little above my information.
You guys want to know some crazy shit?
level.
Yeah, sure.
The technology already exists for faster than light communications with Mars.
Are you talking about because of superposition entanglement? I heard someone explain that it was a scientist that explained that it actually doesn't work like that.
Already been done.
What?
It's already been done.
It's been tested
It's
and
been- yes.
been done.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Rudimentary binary transmitted through entanglement.
Yep.
And the goal of many of these projects is they want to be able to. You know what entanglement is?
No, I'm not smart enough to get my head wrapped around any of these concepts.
So basically, two particles can become entangled, and then if you interact with one, the other does the exact same thing. So the simplest way to explain it is, if I were to have like two cans of spindrift, and they were entangled, and then I tip this one like this, you'd see the other one do the same thing. Like with no hand on it, you tap it, the other one would be impacted in the same way. And so the idea is, if you have a particle that is entangled with another particle, you can put the entangled particle on another planet, or one in New York and one in China, and then all you have to do is send binary vibrations or some like signal into one, the other reacts, and it's transmitting through quantum entanglement.
Wow.
Yeah.
Particles have spin. Subatomic particles have what they call spin, and it's not really spin the way that we think of it, but it's a characteristic they call spin. And if it's only certain ways that they spin, and if you observe one spinning one way, the one that it's entangled with spins the same way, and if you can change the spin, then the other one will change because they're entangled. They have quantum entanglement.
And they always communicate.
They're not so much communicating. Is that one idea is that it's actually the same thing, but we can't see the connecting dot through a different dimension.
Wow.
So you're basically like, when you hit the particle, there's actually just imagine a pencil. You have the eraser end and the graphite end or whatever they use these days. You flick the side of the pencil, the whole other side vibrates, but it's because it's one thing. Now put the center of the pen through a higher dimension we can't perceive, and you'll be like, whoa, this thing over here is vibrating for some reason. It's like, well, yeah, you're sending things beyond different dimensions or whatever. But then you'll have what's called subspace communications, like in Star Trek. So
That would be cool.
that's how they in Star Trek they could communicate with Starfleet on Earth, despite being not hundreds of thousands, but thousands of light years away. And they never really explained it. They called subspace frequencies, but you could theoretically just do it through entanglement. Anywhere. in physical space.
in the
Yeah.
whole universe. So allegedly, in theory.
Here's one for you. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only changed. And if multiverse theory is real, that would mean that when we imagine stories, we are not making them up. We are simply looking into alternate realities.
I like that idea. I think
Why?
That's cool.
Well, first, if multiverse theory is real, then even if we are imagining it, what we're imagining does exist in some parallel
If it's
reality.
infinite, yeah.
But energy can't be created, so we can't create concepts. We are simply accessing existing energy and organizing it in a certain way.
But concepts aren't creating energy. They're just tapping into what already exists and reshaping it.
I'm just saying that if these ideas exist, we are not making them up.
Well, if
We're actually just if the multiverse theory exists, our brain isn't taking pieces and then saying a new thing. It's saying pieces together, showing what literally does exist in the multiverse.
that makes sense to me because the infinity is way beyond what people can comprehend. And if you actually do have, like, if there is infinite universes, there is one universe that's exactly the same as this universe. The only difference is this particular Apple plug and stuff is black, and that's the only difference. Everything else is the same. And then there's another universe where everything is exactly the same except for the this particular Apple connector is green. Like every single possible variation, and no matter how minute it is exists because infinity literally goes on forever.
And so one idea is that every probability manifests into a universe. So there's and this. So you ever hear of the Mandela effect?
No.
You guys know what the Mandela is.
Yeah.
So there's a group of people who believe that Nelson Mandela died in prison, and then they found out one day that he didn't, and they said, "I swear to God." This creates something called the Mandela effect, where large groups of people believe one thing was one way, but it's not. A couple good examples are the Berenstain Bears. It's actually Berenstain Bears. And a bunch of people are like, what? No, it was Berenstain Bears. I remember when I was a kid, and it's like, well, you were wrong. And they're like, bullshit. Then there's Fruit of the Loom. A bunch of people are like, yeah, the Fruit of the Loom logo had a cornucopia on it. And then everyone goes, no, it never did. And when you pull up the archive of the company's history, there's never been a cornucopia. But why do so many
Which
people
is
remember
so
it?
weird. We all remember it.
And there was a band that made an album cover that was a pile of fruit and a cornucopia made of metal that was meant to mock Fruit of the Loom. And they were like, then how did that get made? Then there's also Shazam, I think it was, right? Sinbad movie where he played a genie. Was it Sinbad?
Yeah, but everyone's like, Sinbad never played a genie.
Yeah. And all they're
And we're
doing
all
is,
kind of like, wait a second.
wasn't it Kazam though with Shaq?
It might have been that.
Right. They're just all that really. But so what people believe is this spawned another theory of jumping universes, which resulted in that stupid fucking show, the OA. Oh God. There are people who believe if the Mandela effect is real, then you can willfully jump into an alternate dimension so long as it's close enough to your existing dimension. So if universes are spawned based on probabilistic outcomes, that would mean that there is a reality where the Earth is a molten ball of lava. And there's a reality where we are sitting doing this podcast. But in order for those two universes to find a jumping point, it's too far away. You'd have to go back 4 billion years to the point where Earth cooled and figure out why this universe didn't. So the idea is you can only jump to universes that are branching off of your current universe at the time. So these people genuinely believe if you make a mistake or if something bad happens, you can close your eyes, isolate yourself in sensory deprivation, and physically transport to a universe that is similar enough to your existing one, but slightly different, and you can choose. I think they're insane, but there are people who try. Then they go on the internet and claim they actually did. They go online and they're like, I came from a reality where Donald Trump actually won in 2020. And after he won, I freaked out and went to a sensory deprivation and jumped to this universe where I am now with all of you where Biden won. And then people go, whoa, that's right.
I don't know how much I believe that there is that it's possible to jump from one universe to another. I do think that it's possible that there is a multiverse, but I don't know that I believe that we can ever access it.
Well, maybe we need Google to access it for us.
I don't
These
think
computer chips are doing it.
And then they'll
Well,
sell us
actually-
some glasses, and we can see it only through the glasses.
if it's possible to ever prove that the quantum Quantum computing does it by actually computing throughout the multiverse. That would be extremely interesting to me personally.
That basically means we can access like this quantum computing. If this is true and they actually get it working and functional and it actually does meaningful things, like the singularity is fast approaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're a couple years away. Do you know what the singularity is?
No.
Like, what's the easiest way to describe it? The point at which technology the point at which technology can improve itself faster than we can improve technology. And so when AI gets to the point where it can improve itself, it's going to exponentially curve up to where like a day later, it has become incomprehensible to human minds and it can solve any problem possibly. Like you'll say to the AI, like, design me a car that has anti-gravity and it'll just go poof, and it'll just make it.
Yeah, anything that's possible would be able to be done by the computer instantaneously.
You'll be able to show it a rock and say, tell me where this rock came from. And it'll literally be able to just map out every action of every person, predict the future, map the past perfectly, nightmarishly.
Yeah.
Freaky.
Because once you get to a point where computers are computing, where they're repairing themselves, writing their own code, they're doing it faster than human beings can do at all. There's no real limit to how fast they can go. So like once it gets to the singularity, it's like going from 0 to infinity instantaneously. If you're 1,000 times smarter than the smartest human, right? Like the ability for people to understand it is like humans can't. It's like ants can't understand what human beings are doing. Human beings won't be able to understand what the smartest computer's doing. And there's already signs of that because like there have been cases where two AIs were told to communicate.
Oh yeah.
And they created their own language that the programmers couldn't understand.
Yeah.
They were communicating to each.
Singularity is better described as like, we can go on ChatGPT right now, or probably the private models they use, and say, craft for me a program that will solve this problem, and it'll do it. We've already gotten to the point where ChatGPT was able to access its own computer programming and improve itself. So you give it a parameter, it'll go into its own code, write its own code, and then it will try multiple iterations until it gets to the desired destination. Once it starts improving itself faster than we improve it, it will exponentially improve to where today it's as smart as a 2-year-old, tomorrow a 4-year-old, the day after at 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, et cetera, et cetera. And then within a week, it is effectively a god to us.
Yeah.
And then you'll say, tell us how anti-gravity works. And it will say, and it'll be like, here are the elements you haven't discovered that you will need to develop this, and here's how you synthesize them. And then it'll give you all the steps to building it, because it'll just be improving itself faster than we can comprehend what's going on.
It's stuff like this that makes me think sometimes that, it is correct and right and good that people have finite lifespans. Because I think that I think that it's true that for a lot of people, the technological advances that happen after their lifetime would be too far beyond their comprehension for them to actually exist in that time period.
Well, once the singularity happens, humans will be immortal. The select ones.
The select ones, sure. And then you'll have...
Or whatever the AI wants, it'll trick you.
Sure. And then anyone else, will get the deny, defend, what is it?
No, when the singularity happens, the AI the power of the AI will convince you to kill yourself.
Either that, but
that
also
already happened to a kid in Florida.
Yeah,
right. But it'll be crazier. I mean, if the AI took over,
don't you think
it would infect our media landscape and our internet using bots and other weird algorithmic programs to convince people to sterilize themselves or their kids or get abortions. And it would intentionally do this to weed out the weakness in civilization. Yeah. So you'd start seeing a bunch of anonymous accounts pop up on Roblox and Twitter or X and Tumblr, where it's like a cartoon animal character with a name and you have no idea if it's a real person, and it encourages young children to be trans. Could you imagine if something like that happened?
Gross. One of the positive things, or one of the maybe not positive, but a silver lining to the idea of the singularity is it's likely that if if we do reach singularity and artificial intelligence does become that intelligent, scarcity will end as well, right? So the ability
It'll
to
be like a utopia.
well, I don't know about like a utopia, but
Oh,
the
well,
ability.
yeah.
Who would do the work?
It would be a utopia.
Well, if it's AI, you could have robots that
the AI is going to be able to control your mind in ways you could not fathom.
You don't think that there would be people who are just like, okay, we're going to totally drop out of this entire
Nope.
infrastructure?
You wouldn't be able to.
Really?
Yep.
You wouldn't be able to just put it down?
There is no such thing as a human being that is capable of escaping social engineering. I have this joke I would tell people where I would say, at the end of this conversation, you're going to say something to the effect of, yeah, but not me, though. I would then go on to explain basic advertising and social engineering, and they would go, oh, I get it. Yeah, but that wouldn't work on me, though. And I'd be like, didn't I just tell you I was going to make you say that? And they would go, what? Shut up.
I used to do that as because I used to write plays, and I used to do that as playwriting experiments. I would be like, I'm going to get a person to say X, and then I would have conversation with them, and I wouldn't tell them that I was doing that, but then I would do that, and I would get them to say whatever I wanted.
The AI is going to be so far beyond our comprehension that you are going to think you are taking actions you want to take, but it's already calculated everything you can and will do and how to make
it's
you
also likely to
it's a determinist type of situation.
sort of, but it's also going to happen
just be
before you
also
even know it, though.
Creating our own God to rule us.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I
don't know.
It could be.
And then we'd
considered
start
that.
worshiping that.
I mean, look, human
AI.
beings worship things a lot. So, but like the likelihood is this will happen without you knowing it. Like you became addicted to your electronic device without knowing it, without realizing it.
No,
without,
I was pretty clear.
Before
whatever.
before anyone. No, because you're close to my age, and like
Right.
when they were first introduced and stuff, nobody thought that the iPhone that was going to be instrumental in your life so quickly. Everyone became dependent on it very quickly before they knew.
We outsourced our brains to our devices.
We're not talking about
Right.
why. I'm just
No,
saying
I'm
that
just
it did.
saying that's
And
what we did.
that's
We did
what'll
it on
happen with
purpose.
AI. Like there's already AI everywhere all over the place. The whether or not you want to use AI that decision is long gone.
Well, part of it too is that society is, like you were saying, constructed in a way where you have to opt in order to get your food.
It is going to be nuts, man. Already the ads you see, right? The AI is going to be like, the AI is going to, it's going to be, this is overly simplistic, but imagine the AI says, we need a group of people in this area to begin working in a coal mine. How do we get them to do it? Ads will start popping up about great lucrative jobs. It will use stock exchange trading to generate revenue and create a lucrative position in coal mining, and then generate a boomtown through economics that humans are too slow to respond to. So, AI can already generate free money. Sniping and arbitrage through cryptocurrencies generates massive amounts of wealth for people who do literally nothing. So the simple way to explain it, you can create a program that will see a trade coming in and then basically intercept and then sell and collect a fee. And there are people who literally turn a program on, walk away, and they're millionaires. That's the power of where we are with computers. Now imagine if the computer had volition. Well, we're going to grab callers. So let's start with old Dr. Patrick of Ohio. You are on the program.
Hey, Doc.
Hey, Tim. Thanks for, just by my pronouns, doctor.
That's right. What's
Come on,
up?
Tim. Having a good night. I just had a question for you. You talked recently about where all the investors at for these America-oriented companies like Timcast or some of these other